Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe back with World of Warships, and today's video a captain's log of sorts. I'll be further discussing my return to the title while taking a look at two matches, one featuring the St. Louis, the other light cruiser Omaha. So, in closed beta test, I talked about how much I enjoyed this title. Many of you, I think, thought that it was due to that new game smell. It's something different. You haven't really played anything like this before. I don't really want to compare it to naval action, so let's not. But you thought that it was going to wear off. It's going to get tired of it. I might still get tired of it. That happens a lot with me in video games. It's just in my nature, I guess. But with this one, I can tell you that the new game smell has definitely worn off. In fact, some time ago. The reason I stopped playing closed beta test was because, well, everything was going to get wiped, reset. I didn't want to have to unlock everything all over again, and I was already 8 tiers in to American cruisers in beta, or closed beta, and I think up to the Fuso in the Japanese tech tree. Didn't want to have to do it over again. Of course, we are doing it over again, but I didn't want to have to go any further and deal with painful grinds. Now, the game is in open beta, or what devs consider a soft launch, meaning that they're okay with keeping your money. Well, I guess they were okay with keeping your money, or taking your money earlier. They did have pre-orders available, and you could buy gold pretty early on. It was just refunded to you once in open beta and past the reset. However, I'm still having fun with the game. I'm up to the Cleveland now. If you've been to any of the recent live streams, you know that I'm just thoroughly enjoying this title. The frustration meter is registering pretty low. I would say that it comes down to some gameplay mechanics maybe that are probably not going anywhere. I think that if I get frustrated, it's either going to come down to teammates, but that's any game, so not really any fault to warships. Or maybe torpedoes and HE ammunition, you know, torps. Nobody likes getting torpedo bombed in the beginning of the match and losing most of your health, or getting blown up at the very beginning of the match. That's always frustrating, no matter what. It does come down to having good situational awareness, but I do find that sometimes you're in a battleship that moves so slow, usually an American battleship, that you just have no choice. And no matter what you do, whether you're turning into torps or turning away from torps or whatever the case may be, you just cannot avoid the drop. And you get hit and you lose most of your health, or you explode. And I think that when absolute control is taken away from you, you get frustrated. And so I think that in some cases that can be a pain point to this game. Other than that, maybe HE ammunition constantly setting you on fire. You use your damage control ability and then right away immediately set on fire again due to a single round. Those can be frustrating. Those things can be frustrating about this title. How do you counter it? Well, try to avoid tunnel vision, maintain better situational awareness, fight with friends, move as a team, group up, focus fire. You know, there's, I think, things that can help alleviate those issues, but ultimately, again, if we're going to talk about the things that maybe frustrate me about the game, it's probably related to those things. But I think that's nitpicking. Generally not a huge deal, because obviously if you're on the giving end, then dropping torps on people, shooting torps at people as a destroyer, or setting people on fire, well, it's fun, right? It is, and it gives you a chance to deal with battleships, whereas in early closed beta you might have not been able to, you know, deal any damage to them. So being able to set something on fire, I guess it gives you a way to fight back. I don't really like talking too much about historical accuracies when discussing wargaming products because, let's face it, these games are fairly arcade. And I don't know much about naval combat. I'm more so about ground combat, tank battles, and things like that, especially with World War II. When it comes to naval combat and the durability of ships, I'm, for the most part, clueless. Well, I'm learning more, but, you know, it's going to take some time to get to the level of some of you. However, game is still fun. I just enjoy it. It's satisfying. I mean, you're getting kills like this. There's great feedback. I love seeing those ribbons pop up. They make me feel good about myself, basically. It's just one of those things where now we look at how much fun is the game early on. And I think that's why I've chosen these two matchups for you. Now, yes, you've seen the St. Louis, you've seen the Omaha. I'm sure you're sick of seeing them in videos and whatever, but, well, we are playing the game. We are starting over, you know, having to regrind some of these ships. I do have the Cleveland, I have the Atlanta. I could be showing you some of those things. That will come in time, and if you're on the live streams, well, you're going to be seeing them there anyway. But I wanted to showcase these vessels because they're fun early on, and I think that's important, and that's really what I want to talk about today, is how much fun can you have early on in this free-to-play vehicle tier-based grinder, if you will. Because a lot of new people come in and they say, you know, should I even bother downloading this? Well, first of all, it's a free-to-play. I mean, unless your bandwidth is so horribly bad that you just can't download something, then, you know, you've got nothing to lose but some time, okay? It's a free-to-play. You should really decide for yourself. Don't listen to me or some other YouTuber or streamer. Really, you have no idea who you can trust these days anyway. I mean, it's YouTube. It's an industry that's becoming worse than Hollywood. People are being paid for their opinions. Just play it for yourself. Form your own opinions and see if it's something that's worth your time and maybe even money. But with that said, for me, yes, St. Louis, Tier 3, fun, fantastic ship that you simply should not sell. I usually have a good match in this ship, consistently even. Whether we win, lose, or draw, this ship puts a smile on my face. Now, it might simply be because I'm an American and, well, we all have a thing for firepower. There's a lot of guns on this ship, and more guns equals more fun. So, yeah, you know, maybe it's that. I don't know. There's a lot of visceral feedback here. The audio's good. The firing animations, I think there's just something about it igniting your senses. And that's why I do believe aesthetics are important. I always talk about how sound design is absolutely critical. I mean, it's one of our main senses as a human being. Sight, sound, those things actually make a big difference. Now, only if they can implement smell, you know, if you could smell the gunpowder and explosions. We need to work on that next, I think. But anyways, you know, there's your match in the St. Louis. Again, a very good game for me, not necessarily something that I'm always going to get, but I mean, why would you sell that thing? Why? I don't know. Anyways, Omaha, next ship that you probably should not get rid of. You do have to go through the Phoenix to get it. Absolutely hated the Phoenix while not upgraded. Once you upgrade it, it does become more tolerable. But there's a certain play style that the Phoenix and Omaha have. You have to kind of play them like a snake. Serpentine, slither around, use your speed to constantly move left and right while maintaining your guns. The way the guns are positioned at the front, I think you can usually fire 4 at a time from the front, no matter, you know, which way you're looking, if you're just curving slightly left and right. Keep them guessing. You've also got torpedoes on this thing, so if you're close quarters, use them. Don't forget about them. Now, you'll want to research the final hull, but I and others recommend that you do not actually use it. So don't buy it, don't equip it, because you're going to gain anti-aircraft, but you're going to lose in other departments that are actually fairly critical to your success. I would suggest that you not take it. Some think that it's great to have the AA, but at this tier, I don't feel that it's worth it. You want the other benefits from the first hull. So, you know, pay attention to some of these things. There are some ships that have different gun setups, different hulls. You might not want to always upgrade to the final one, because in some cases you lose attributes. But anyways, again, still fairly low tier here, and I do believe you're able to have fun. Now, yes, I have a premium account, so that helps. But really, like I said, tier 3, St. Louis, even without premium, not hard to acquire. Now, are there bad low tier vessels? Yeah, I think there are some that most agree are fairly rubbish. The Japanese battleship Kawachi, I'm not sure if it's possible to have fun in that thing because its firing range is so low. I mean, the gun caliber is nice, but rotation, reload time, general speed of the ship, I don't really find it to be all that enjoyable. Some of the early tier American battleships aren't amazing either. Some people claim that as far as US battleships are concerned, you don't really have all that much fun until you get to the New Mexico. And considering how far away that is, I don't know if that's great game design. I think that's something that scares me about most free-to-plays, is that they're trying to think about how to get your money. So do they intentionally make something painful so as to promote the purchase of premium time and or maybe XP exchange? I don't know. I think we did witness similar tactics in World of Tanks. I'm sure you can think of a vehicle or two that you just absolutely couldn't stand, that you felt that you needed to free XP out of. I don't know much about World of Warplanes. I don't play that title, but I'm sure that we could perhaps ask the 10 people that do enjoy that game whether they find similar issues there. Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad wargaming, I guess. So, you know, again, can you have fun early on in this game? My answer is yes. Will you have to figure out which ships are enjoyable? Of course. It's also going to be based on player opinion. What's fun to me may not be fun to you, and vice versa. But I think also in some cases, historically, certain things were just so bad that it's hard to make them good. I've been delivering praise to Armored Warfare because I feel that they've made their early tiers enjoyable. Now, it might also be the fact that the game is 1950s and up, so we just see those vehicles and we think, okay, they're more modern, they're more enjoyable. Whereas here you're dealing with things that were made really early on in the 30s and maybe even before that, to the point where they're just, well, historically bad. You know, how good can you make the Kawachi in a video game if historically it was terrible as well? I don't know. The gun placement's awkward, the speed, the rotation of the guns, the reload time. Their hands may be tied. There's nothing else to put in the tech tree. I think the only thing they can do then is make it so that it's easy to get out of. However, I think the problem I might have is when you have several ships in a row that are painful. For example, I'm having this problem with American battleships. It seems like most people say the fun doesn't begin until you get to the New Mexico. And if that's true, in my opinion, that's bad game design, because that's a lot of ships to go through before you can have some quality entertainment. I just don't agree that that should be the case. Now, how do you resolve these issues if historically the ships were poor? I really don't know much about US battleships in reality. I don't know how bad they were early on. It seems like in this game, they've got great armor belts. The guns are decent, but lower range than Japanese. The Japanese seems to focus on spreading their armor out across the ship. They seem faster, they have better gun range. what would you rather have? I'm usually a guy that likes to fight from far away. Maybe the Japanese battleships are more for me. But on the flip side, you've got great armor. And in a toe-to-toe close quarter fight, it seems like the Americans are going to take the win. But I don't know. I'll have to see for myself. I'm on to New York right now. And the guns, they're not bad if you can hit. But the ships are so painfully slow that I find myself more often than not out of action. If you decide to go east and everybody else went west and all of the combat's happening on the west, you're trying to sail back to the combat, you know, the match is half over by then, which happens far too often in the American battleships. Again, I'm not blaming wargaming or anybody for the situation. It just might be that, well, historically, these things were slow, and you just have to figure out where you're going to go early on and make sure that it's the right direction for you. I guess just try to stick with the bulk of the force and hope that you guys see combat, because otherwise, if somebody's capturing your base or you need to get that last carrier in a minute before the match ends, well, you're not going to do it in a US battleship. I'm not saying you're going to do it in a Japanese one either, because they're pretty slow, but they're still faster than what you have with the Americans. However, they do make up for it. Again, if you're in a brawl, close quarters, toe-to-toe with an equal-tier Japanese battleship, you might have the advantage. But, of course, there is RNG in this title, so an ammo hit or some sort of Citadel hit can end the match for you. It really just depends. But anyways, you know, should several tiers be painful? No, that's bad design. Are they actually painful, or are too many people complaining when it's perhaps not warranted? Not sure yet. I'm trying to find out for myself. All I can say is I've sold every American battleship before the New York. Obviously, I've kept my Arkansas beta. I would never sell that thing. It's a rare gift that we were given for beta testing. I actually enjoy that ship. It's got a lot of guns, but I think that's why it's fun to me, is because it has so many guns, and they do pack enough of a punch to be enjoyable. It's still slow, but you know that you're making up for it with credit earning potential and whatnot. So there's that. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, have I convinced you to hold on to the St. Louis and Omaha? As you can see here, this match is definitely going my way. Even seeing some torpedo action, which can be rare in this vessel due to the lack of range, but situational awareness, switching ammo types, switching between HE and AP at the right moments, using the torpedoes, moving constantly left and right. More torps on the way here. 2 final targets remain. Spamming HE, some AA cooking off here. It's a beautiful sight. Torps, getting her done. And one more to go. This guy, not happy though. He has torps as well, and they're on the way. I'm definitely going to eat at least one of these. Can we finish it in the nick of time? Serving up some freedom. I don't know if that last torpedo might have been able to take me out, but thankfully we got him before he could get us. Ladies and gentlemen, I really hope that you've enjoyed this look at World of Warships. More to come. Stay tuned. Don't forget to check out the live stream. Link always down below. And with that, thank you so very much for joining me. I will definitely see you on the next one.